So please welcome Christian on the stage with your round of applause. Christian, the floor is yours. Join us.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I want to first thank Mercuryo for having me today, and also thank you for my first opportunity to visit Cyprus. I'm a convert at this point. I love it here. So I'm going to be presenting innovative DeFi solutions with MetaMask Snaps. I'm a senior product manager at MetaMask. I've been with the company for 1 year and 4 months, and I've been working on Snaps ever since I joined. Let's see here. Maybe I have this backwards. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about MetaMask for builders, introducing MetaMask Snaps, then presenting DeFi use cases with some examples, and I'll give you some resources to get you started. So first of all, when we talk about builders, obviously we think of developers and programmers, but we're actually talking about anyone who's contributing to the future of crypto. So if you're in design, marketing, business, user research, anywhere where you're doing user support, if you're contributing to education, if you're involved in using crypto products and giving feedback, if you're contributing to DAOs, anything that you're doing that's furthering the future of crypto, we consider you to be a builder. And so this is not meant to be just for developers today. I am going to be talking about something that's somewhat technical, but there's information here that applies to everyone. And so at the nexus of applications, dApps, protocols, assets, users, and developers, we have the wallet. Okay, the wallet is surface zero. It's the center of everything that you do in crypto. Okay, every action, every interaction that you're doing on the blockchain in the Web3 ecosystem happens first with the wallet. And so the wallet is very key to everything that you do, and it's the place where I think there's a lot of innovation that can happen. And so part of what makes MetaMask so successful is our ethos, right? Users identify with our values, and we value security, privacy, decentralization, and user consent, okay? And so we aspire to make the most extensible and universal wallet, a wallet that's available everywhere and that you can extend in many different ways. And that's not just great for users, but also for developers. It enables users to interact with any Web3 website and through our client-side APIs. And it also enables developers to build dApps for free that can interact with the blockchain and can perform all kinds of actions, whether it's send, contract interaction, or providing ways for users to onboard to crypto. And we're cross-platform. You can actually have the same accounts on both your extension and on mobile. And also, we're making MetaMask available on even more platforms than before. Okay, so we recently launched the MetaMask SDK, which you can find through our website, and it even allows to embed MetaMask in different environments, like Unity, for example. So you can even make Unity games that work with MetaMask. And by the numbers, so we recently did a rebrand of Consensus. We, announced some updated metrics of where we are. Over 100 million users use and trust MetaMask. Over 17,000 dApps use MetaMask as a wallet of choice to connect, and we process over 244,000 transactions daily across the different clients. Okay, so if you want to look at user adoption in the crypto space, it's here. Now, one of the questions that we get very often is, well, when are you going to add XYZ feature? When are you going to add support for Bitcoin, or support for a new Ethereum proposal, some new feature, right, or some new type of contract interaction? Or something different, let's say some new security paradigm, or maybe notifications, or something like that. And the reality is that it's impossible for us to do everything that people are asking, right? It's impossible for us to take all the innovation in the space and put it into one wallet. But what if we didn't have to do that? What if we made it possible for other people to build new features into MetaMask and to bring their expertise in a way that's secure and decentralized and keeps users in control? So now I'm going to talk about MetaMask Snaps. So Snaps is an application environment in MetaMask. It's a platform for apps, and these apps are essentially node applications, and they run inside of a permissions model, and so they use permissions to get access to different features in MetaMask, such as the ability to store data, talk to the internet, interact with various MetaMask APIs, and then on top of that, a Snap can have its own API that it can present to websites or even other Snaps. And so this enables a lot of interesting use cases, which I'm going to show you in a moment. But first of all, When you install a snap, you see something like this. Okay, there's information about where the snap is coming from, there's some version information, and then various permissions that it's requesting. So in this case, this is a snap that I'm installing into MetaMask, and it will do transaction insights, which I'll explain in a little bit, and it will have access to the internet, maybe to talk to some third-party server, some remote server, and get information. And so what can you do with these snaps? So there's a wide range of functionality. You can implement different blockchains, even non-EVM blockchains and layer 2s. You can connect to various APIs. You can do ZK use cases. You can actually do ZK proving inside of a snap and enable ZK functionality. And you can do different kinds of applications around privacy, identity, communication, and security. And as we add more APIs to the Snaps environment, we actually enable even more use cases. And the way that this works is that these snaps are NPM packages. So for those of you who are familiar with Node and NPM, you would find this to be very familiar. It's essentially just source code. It's really JavaScript under the hood. You have a manifest file that describes what the snap does and the permissions it needs, and then a package.json file, which is required for an NPM package. And we actually provide the tools to bundle that all together and upload it to the NPM registry and make that available from a dApp. And so the way that this works is that you build your snap. It's an application that you write. You publish it to the NPM registry for free. It's a free public registry for everyone to use. And then you deploy a dApp where you invite users to come and install your snap. And when users come to your dApp and they connect to the snap, MetaMask will prompt them to install it. And so once you've installed a snap, then you have something like this within MetaMask. This is a menu where I have all my installed snaps. And in this case, I have a FilePoint snap and a StarkNet snap installed. And I can view them and manage them from my settings. And then other dApps can interact with that snap. Okay, so if I have a FilePoint snap installed in MetaMask, then various FilePoint websites can talk to that snap and use it to provide FilePoint functionality in MetaMask. But another cool thing about this is that if other dApps implement your snap, they also become a way for users to install your snap. Okay, so when users go to those dApps, if you have a snap that's implemented by a lot of dApps, then potentially you could get a lot of installs because they would all be prompting users to install that snap. And so let's look at some use cases, and I'm going to show you some examples as I go through this of how snaps actually work. So first of all, there's multi-chain. Now, MetaMask is already a multi-chain wallet in the sense that we support a lot of different EVM chains, right? Obviously, we support Ethereum, and Polygon, and Avalanche, and BSD, and so forth, and also various layer 2 networks like Optimism and Arbitrum, and so forth. But those are all Ethereum-like chains. They function like Ethereum. Now, when I'm talking about multi-chain now, I'm talking about going beyond just Ethereum-compatible chains and into potentially any protocol. And so within a snap, you can actually build all of the wallet functionality to support these other protocols. And then what that enables is for users to have a much broader access to DeFi products across different protocols. And it enables dApp developers to then build DeFi products that can connect to all of those different protocols, and even enables things like bridging, right? So if you want to have a bridge from Ethereum to something that's not Ethereum-based, right? Right now you would have to provide connections to different types of wallets, right? You would maybe bridge from MetaMask, but then have to have another wallet for Bitcoin or Solana or so forth. In this case, you can actually do all of that with MetaMask. And so the first example I have here is a Bitcoin snap. And this is a dApp that is used to interact with the snap, and it's going to switch to testnet in order to show you the functionality. But essentially, this dApp is being used to initiate the send, and so we're just going to put in an amount and an address to send to, and then you're going to see a dialog pop up from MetaMask, but the dialog is actually being created by the snap. And so this is a dialog that has all the information about the transaction, and it's coming from the Bitcoin snap, and when the transaction is sent, it's going to show in the Explorer. And so this is the Blockchain Explorer, and this is an actual testnet Bitcoin transaction that was facilitated by a Bitcoin snap. So MetaMask is actually the Bitcoin wallet in this scenario. Now another example is StarkNet. StarkNet is an Ethereum layer 2, but it's not EVM based, so it has a completely different protocol language, and so it doesn't work with MetaMask. But in this case, this snap is going to facilitate talking to the StarkNet network and making MetaMask compatible with StarkNet. So a very similar idea. Here the dApp is being used as the wallet interface, and you're going to see the pop-ups that are coming from MetaMask that are actually created by the snap. So again, this is on StarkNet's testnet. I'm going to do a very cheap send here, $1.31. The transaction fee is only 10 cents because it's on an L2. And when it confirms, this dialog is created by the snap. I know it's a little bit hard to read here, but it's just showing the information about the transaction. And similarly, this transaction is going to show up on, I think, Voyager or StarkScan, one of those two, which is a, this is going to show up on Voyager. So this is a StarkNet transaction that was facilitated by the snap. Now let's talk about account abstraction. So account abstraction is actually a whole design space. Account abstraction is really just changing the way that transactions can be validated, but then that enables a whole wide range of things that you can do. You can manage smart contract wallets from EOA accounts. You can do MPC signing, multi-threshold signing. You can batch transactions. You can do sponsored transactions, and even more. And all of these features can be built into Snaps, because what you need for account abstraction is a way to do off-chain computation, and you can do that in the Snap itself. So this is one example. This was actually a hackathon project that someone built, where they built the ability to manage a smart contract wallet from MetaMask. And so the way this works is it's going to connect to MetaMask, and it's going to take your EOA account, and it's going to deploy a smart contract account on your behalf, and then use MetaMask, use your EOA account in MetaMask to sign and act on that smart contract. And so here the user is connecting their EOA. That's just a typical, you just have a key pair, you just manage your account. And then the abstract account is a smart contract that's on Polygon Mumbai, I think. That's the Polygon testnet. And so there's about 0.8 Matic in the smart contract account. The user is going to transfer to their personal accounts, the EOA, they're going to transfer 0.42. And you're going to see this pop-up coming from the snap. Hopefully I'm not blocking the way. So the pop-up is coming from the snap. And then it's using the EOA account to sign and manage that smart contract account. The user is going to refresh. You might not be able to see it clearly, but the balance will show up in the EOA account, and it'll be subtracted from the smart contract account in a moment. So that's actually managing a smart contract wallet from MetaMask. Today, if you wanted to manage a smart contract wallet, you would probably have to use Gnosis Safe, but in the future, you'll be able to manage smart contract accounts from MetaMask. Here's another example. So this is actually a snap that does paymasters. So the paymasters allow you to pay gas fees in stablecoins. And so this transaction is going to use Pimlico to pay the gas fee with USDC. And then it's going to show, actually at the end, on the Explorer, you'll see that the gas fee was covered in USDC and is actually paid out by a paymaster provider, not from the user's own account. So this is coming from Pimlico. This is, again, another pop-up coming from a snap, showing the transaction details. This user is just wrapping Matic into wrapped Matic, so it's a very simple contract interaction. And then they're going to show in a moment the result coming from, so this is the transaction confirmed. They're going to take that hash and put it into the block explorer, and you'll see in this case, again, I know it's hard to read, but there's a portion in the middle where it shows that USDC was used to pay the gas, and USDC was transferred from some other account in order to sponsor it. So you can actually do things like, let's say you're onboarding a user, you want to deploy maybe a smart contract account for the user, but they would need to fund that address in order to pay for the deployment, or you want to onboard a user to a game or some sort of DeFi product. Maybe you want to allow a user to buy USDC, right? Maybe they want to buy stablecoins, right? You have an on-ramp and they want to buy stablecoins, but they would also have to buy Ethereum or Matic or something to be able to pay gas on the account where they're going to receive it. You could actually do, okay, we'll pay your gas fees using that stablecoin as an alternate gas token, and you won't have to buy the gas token in order to be able to transact with the stable coins that you're going to receive. Now, transaction security. So in terms of user adoption, one of the biggest concerns that users actually have is just they're worried about being scammed, they're worried about phishing, and so they're worried about like what might happen as they use crypto products. And so warning users about risky transactions is key to making DeFi adoption possible, and Snaps can actually be used in order to do this. And so we've actually introduced an interface where you can show if a transaction is risky before they make it. So here I'm interacting with a phishing contract, and this is a contract that would steal my funds. But there's Snap, this MobiMask phishing warning Snap is able to show me in the transaction flow, beware this address has been reported for phishing, so you should not interact with it. Therefore, I saw the warning, I realized I needed to back out, I canceled the transaction, that way I didn't lose my money. And that's a pretty simple example, but we're actually working with multiple security providers who are going to be using this interface, and you'll see it in the MetaMask send flow and contract interaction flow. Now, these next few I don't have examples, but I'm going to talk through them. So notifications are very important. Obviously, with various DeFi products, there's various actions that a user is going to take where they're going to be waiting for the outcome. Maybe they are doing an on-ramp, they're funding their account, but it's going to take a while for the funds to arrive in their account. Or maybe they're withdrawing a staking position and it takes a while for the withdrawal to complete. Or maybe they have some position on chain and they're about to be liquidated and you need to notify them about that. Right now you would be relying on email. You would have to use email to be able to get in touch with the user. But what if you could notify them directly in the wallet? So we've actually created a notifications interface and a service for Snaps to be able to push notifications into that interface. So it's not the infrastructure, but it's the ability to list those notifications into MetaMask. And the way this works, this is just an example of what the notifications look like. But essentially any Snap can integrate various services to show notifications in MetaMask. And the great thing is that you don't have to collect personal information about the user or rely on email, which can be unreliable. You can actually reach them in the wallet, which is their main way of interacting. Hello? I think the battery ran out. Hello? Okay. Okay, so privacy and ZK, you can actually do ZK computation within Snap. You can also do things like if a user is interacting with liquidity pools or shielded pools, you need some way to tie their external account with that pool, but you don't want that information to be leaked. So Snaps provides a way to store data encrypted and securely within MetaMask. It's self-custodial, so it doesn't involve any servers. There's no intermediaries. So you can store that access information and the user can interact with, say, DeFi pools or dark pools or any kind of privacy protocol. And you can just store that information in MetaMask to associate them with that and they can securely interact all within MetaMask. And lastly, similarly, you can store decentralized identity profiles and verifiable credentials. You can store information, maybe you're storing profile information about a user, like you can even store KYC information. The EU now has this EIDAS implementation where digital identity, like your citizenship identity is supposed to have a digital version. You can even store that digital identity within MetaMask and use that for KYC with dApps. And it's totally portable, and again, it's safeguarded the same way that any information within MetaMask is stored. So these are all these different use cases. There's actually way more. It would take too long to go through them all, and there's probably some that you'll think of that I haven't even thought of yet. But Snaps makes all of this possible, and you can actually try Snaps today using our canary build of MetaMask called Flask. And Snaps will eventually be available on both the extension and mobile. But if you install Flask, just one important thing to know is that you should run it in a separate profile from MetaMask because the window.ethereum provider will conflict with each other. So just make another Google Chrome profile or maybe make a Firefox profile and use that to run Flask. So key takeaways, you can build all kinds of features with Snaps. These are your own applications that you control. You control the release schedule. You don't have to go through MetaMask to ship your Snap. Any dApp can use these Snaps, so even if you don't build your own Snaps, if you have a dApp, you can work with existing Snaps to use the features that they provide, whether you want to add support for different blockchains or other types of decentralized identity use cases or whatever those Snaps may offer. And we're launching Snaps into the extension in September of this year. So we're 4 months away from our public launch, and we'll have a whole range of Snaps that will be included as part of that launch that people will be able to install. Just some resources to get you started. You can use this QR code to get my Getting Started guide. You can learn about Snaps on our website and try it out with Flask. And also make sure to follow MetaMask Dev on Twitter so you can learn about everything that we're doing for developers. And that's my presentation. You can follow me on Twitter. Make sure you follow MetaMask Dev. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian.